Auzubillahiminash-shaytanir-rajeem. Bismillahir-rahmanir-rahim. Assalamualaikum. Ji ayanu, pakhairagale, ni hao, chunashumme, washmale. Ohaya gozaimasu, guten Morgen, hola, bonjour, privyet, kaifa hal? Harishuma chatore, ahlan wasalan, marhaba, buna, mucho, gracias, swabia, balli kare aya. Hosh galdin, anayo, hasayo, and thank you very much, everybody, for tuning into PT World. You're certainly watching World this morning. Alongside my very yellow colleague, who happens to be Miss Hajar Sati, very well learned one, and the very maroon one, ladies and gentlemen, I happen to be Shahzad Hassan Khan. We hope and pray that everybody out there is ready to kickstart their day with us. But first things first, hello Hajra, how are you doing today?
Assalamu alaikum, and thank you so much for introducing me. So I'm pretty sure Australian team is not coming, is it? Because I'm not that well versed with the sporting word, because whenever I wear yellow, she says to me that, you are the fan of Australian cricket team. I mean, they play well, but yellow is a good color, for the screen. When
Are you good at playing cricket though?
No, not at all.
So why would you even talk about Australian cricket team? But yeah, it looks like as
because you told me the first time I wore yellow that you are supporting the Australian cricket team, and I think coincidentally Australian cricket team was here in Pakistan too at that time. I remembered that
they were here to play test matches.
Yes, you do. And I think that the second team, that the England team is coming right now.
Yes.
And that is something which is very much celebrated in the cricketing and sporting circles. I'm pretty sure that Shahzad has a lot to talk upon that. But Shahzad, when I was coming to the office, and I have a habit of listening to the podcast. So I was listening to very interesting podcast, and that gentleman, he is actually based in the Silicon Valley, but he is a Sri Lankan. And he said that he created a non-profit which is called Center for the Human Technology.
All right.
So the idea is, he says, the technology is a very deeply polarizing thing. It perpetuates hatred and greed when it comes to that. So he says that he wants to, separate these things from the technology, and he's working with the policymakers. He's also giving consultations to the parents and the technologists. So, it can be a more a harmonious thing which can bind people together rather than divide them. So I find this idea very, astonishing. And I think, what do you think? Do you feel that technology is very polarizing when it comes to that?
I don't think, I disagree to that. And just because it's a podcast, it's not really important that you would love the idea, and it's because of the fact that since we have gone through a pandemic, from 2019 onwards, and even now, people are actually getting positive of COVID-2 as well. So we have seen how humans were isolated, and they were so pushed to live in isolation that if God forbid they were to be social, unfortunately they would spread the disease too as well. So imagine what were we doing. So they were learning management systems where all the students, while being at home, were studying in a same virtual classroom. Not just that, let's talk about how we call an ambulance. So all you need is an application, you call an ambulance. Not just that, you were consulting your doctors, and that too via Zoom or Skype. You were talking to your loved ones, even your wife or children in the other room. I think technology kind of brings people together rather than polarizing. And there's another concept to it as well. For example, if we look at the pharmaceutical industry, so they spend billions and billions of dollars to make sure that they're going to find a cure for a disease, for example, cancer. And if they are to find a cure for that disease, they really need to have the right to kind of earn that money back, even if it comes with a little bit of polarization. And if it comes down to people, I think the divide is amongst the societies. It's not because of technology, it's not because of clothing, food, or how much people are spending. It's what you have in your heart. Please make sure you have a clean heart and stay together, live together, and be full of shukr alhamdulillah. I think that's it. What about you?
Thank you so much.
Do you agree to it?
Okay, no, not entirely. Thank you so much for giving me the counter arguments. They were really convincing. But, when it comes to the education, I don't know how much, effective it was, because I was a student at that time. I was doing my master's, and, I didn't get a lot of lectures because, I was so depressed when it comes to that. But I think we'll talk more about it, because we have a wonderful guest in the studio who's passionate to talk about this subject. But before we get into that, I think we should delve into the world of sports. So,
not just sports. I think first things first, we really need to kind of pay tribute to all of those armed officers, ladies and gentlemen, who actually passed away. In fact, embraced martyrdom. And that too because of a helicopter crash which was out there, looking for people who were affected by the flood too as well. So our prayers go out for all of those people who've embraced martyrdom. All the 6 officers and soldiers, including Lieutenant General Sarfaraz Ali, embraced Shahada in a helicopter crash during flood operation in Balochistan. According to ISPR, the wreckage of the unfortunate helicopter was found in Las Bela district. The accident occurred due to bad weather. As per initial investigations, the martyred officers included Corps Commander 12 Corps Lieutenant General Sarfaraz Ali, Director General Pakistan Coast Guard, Approved Major General Brigadier Amjad Hanif, Commander Engineer 12 Corps, Brigadier Muhammad Khalid, Major Saeed Ahmed, Major Muhammad Talha Manhan, and Crew Chief Naik Mudassir Fayaz. Our prayers go out for all of those brothers in arms, and imagine, I think it is so sad to see that, how in a blink of an eye, you lose your loved ones as well. But since they embrace Shahada, I think they can't be highest ranked than that.
That's true, that's true. Inna lillahi wa inna ilahi rajiun. And of course, we are with the departed. We wish and pray for the consolence of the families of the ones who have lost their lives.
And right at this moment, I would actually request each and every one of you to please pray for one of my elder brothers who actually passed away in Turkey due to a heart attack, Burhan Ali. Burhan Bhai, we obviously surely miss you, and we will continue to do that, and there's nobody who's going to actually fill in your space as well. May your soul rest in peace, and may Allah give us all patience to kind of not miss you, which is at least a little difficult.
Right, inna lillahi wa inna ilahi rajiun. So moving on to our next news, which is that the gifts brought smile on the faces of all the ill children affected with the life-threatening diseases. Make-A-Wish Pakistan organization rather organized a wish granting ceremony in Karachi. So for details, there's a report which is prepared by senior correspondent Ali Asghar Arbab from Karachi. Let's have a look at that.
In the wish granting ceremony, Mr. Sohail Rajput, the Chief Secretary of Sindh, said that we should understand the pain and the sadness of the society and should play our role by encouraging the poor people with our acts. It is an amazing idea to complete the wishes of children who are affected with life-threatening diseases. Mr. Ishtiaq Beg, the representative of Make-A-Wish Foundation in Pakistan, said that our aim is to complete the wishes of the ill children, and we are successful to complete this task with the cooperation of the society. The chief guest, Mr. Rajput, distributed toys, dolls, bicycle, and other gifts among the cute and smiling children as a token of the happiness for them.
Already granted 14,000 wishes of the terminally ill children in Pakistan, in Lahore and other, mainly in Karachi. And these are very unique wishes. Some of them are the wishes to meet celebrities.
Chief Secretary, along with his wife, he witnessed the event and distributed certificates and the gifts to the children. It shows that the government, they are extending their facilitations and their help and support to the NGOs who are bringing a change in the life of the less privileged people.
In the end of ceremony, a documentary was screened in which the role of organization in completion of wishes of ill children was highlighted. Ali Asghar Arbab, PTV World, Karachi.
And I truly appreciate each and every individual who actually brought a smile and made sure that all the wishes are going to be fulfilled over here for all of those children suffering from ill diseases as well. So congratulations to all of you people for bringing out the smile onto the hearts and faces of all of those nanne bachas. I think that's the best part of being on television as well, that you get to see such inspiring stories. But now coming down to how metaverse is becoming a reality finally. People are spending a lot of money on buying houses, cars and whatnot, and that too in metaverse, and we over here still are unable to figure out whether
what is it?
I think it's the artificial existence of our own, and you just kind of look into it as well. Okay, दुनिया में मैं शायद इतना अच्छा नहीं कर पाया, metaverse में अच्छा कर रहा हूँ. All right, so don't be fooled. But here, I think we have a very interesting story, ladies and gentlemen, where a virtual singer and influencer Polar recently headlined a music festival in the metaverse, and the digital character says she wants to work with pop star Ariana Grande and perform in the real world. Wow. Currently, Polar, who is the work of digital media company Thisol Publishing, exists only in virtual world environments and on social media. Polar took off in the virtual scene in 2021 when she performed her debut in the video game A Vacant Life. Now she has 1.6 million followers on TikTok, and her YouTube channel has more than 500,000 subscribers. Fans were recently able to interact with her again while playing A Vacant Life at the game's annual Solar Sounds Festival. Wow.
A metaverse-born singer, dancer. music on.
If you have got no passion, come and hack my heart, hack my heart out, hack my heart.
So imagine that's what life's going to get down to, that you will eventually be enjoying concerts, and that too in the metaverse, where you will see these artificially created avatars of people who are going to sing right in front of you. But the singing, I think, is live, or they've already recorded it,
I
right?
don't know, but there was a lot of content on the news media where they were saying that the abuses that were heaped on the metaverse, a lot of the people who were abused, they felt that it was real thing, and they were mentally affected by that. I mean, that is the darker side of the technology. But again, Shahzad is very optimistic about it.
Because you have the controls in your hand.
I mean, I don't know, when it comes to, people typing anonymous things on the social media and heaping things.
You can block them, you can report them, you can put in privacy control.
But the amount of the mental torture they gave it to you, I don't think so.
Before you use anything, you really need to know how to use it. I think that's what it is.
I don't think so. How many people understand this message,
All right, we will get done with that conversation, but I'm going to come back to the very conversation we were having at the beginning, where you were talking about the podcast. But to do so, ladies and gentlemen, I'm very lucky that I will be actually introducing one of the most amazing people I have always wanted to interview. I mean, she's got a longer span of being a radio jockey, being a television host. She's been teaching too as well. So, so I wanted to talk about pretty much everything. Who inspired her early life, personality development, and for all of those people who want to actually pursue a career, and that too in anchoring, or probably being a host, or probably behind the camera. I think she's the perfect example. So before any further ado, I'm very lucky that I've been actually joined by somebody who happens to be a media professional, social and communication researcher. Ladies and gentlemen, she is Dr. Sundus Mustaqeem. Hello, assalamu alaikum, good morning.
Welcome, Sam. Thank you so much
for
such a wonderful introduction.
Thank you very much for joining us, and you truly deserve that.
Thank you so much for having me in your
So
program.
first things first, okay, the bit where we were actually talking about that podcast where she was like that, technology is actually creating that divide. What do you have to say on that?
Yes, you were very right at the start of the program that though the world is the global village now, the technology actually is bringing people together. I mean, it's like you can say hello to anyone at the other corner of the world, to any of your friend and loved ones. So I think technology is a blessing, it's not a curse.
True. Even if somebody does not want to talk to you, you can still call them. Okay, your friend on Facebook, she's not replying, let me call her. Oh, bhai, kya ho gaya? Kyun phone kar rahe? Something like that.
So it's a blessing, I guess. It's not a curse. So it depends how you use it. It's all depend on your usage.
Wonderful. So I have another voter, ladies and gentlemen. So okay, I think we have the power now to proceed. So first things first. So Dr. Sundus, I think this is the most difficult question in the world.
What?
And interviewers say that this is a question which shouldn't really be asked, but I'm going to ask you today. Who is Dr. Sundus Mustaqeem? Let's start from here.
Okay, I like your question. I mean, she is a pure-hearted, a pure, transparent soul.
Wow.
Okay.
And golden heart, and with she's still enough fixed to be oversweet, oversensitive to how to stay in a balance. Like I always try to keep this balance.
Right, but for somebody who's actually on TV, a public figure, on radio, for them it is really important to be actually, in the presence of all of those people who are right in front of them. They actually feel that they have the right to kind of say anything, ask for a selfie and whatnot. Do you think that disturbs you at times, because somebody who's so sensitive, if somebody comes up with a remark which you think is not good?
That what makes us a real true actors. I mean, we are all doing acting. It doesn't mean we are double-faced. It means we are multi-faced people. We are multi-dimensional people. I mean, we have over the years we have developed those skills and skill set that what to say, how to say, and when to say something.
Yeah.
In class I'm something different. In studio I'm something different. And I'm in TV studio and my radio studio in front of my students and of my friends. So in different roles, I'm a different person. That doesn't mean I'm fake or I'm multi-faced, I'm double-faced.
That's the need of the hour.
Yeah, I mean, that's how our communication skills are. That's what makes us a media person.
So, for example, if I am to ask you, how are you in a classroom? So, can you give us
I'm very friendly. To ask my students, I'm really friendly. I mean, I'm lenient enough in my whole department, and all my students, they, especially as an invigilator in papers, they really want me.
I don't know whether you should say it on television or not.
Not exactly, but I'm not strict at all.
All right.
I'm not strict at all.
So, and are you the sort of a teacher where, the students, if they continue to talk to each other and then you're like, okay, Saptan, you need to stand up and leave the classroom
Not
and
at
I'm going
all.
to detect your
I'll
marks.
say, why you are doing, what is the purpose? Okay, tell me we can talk about this. Okay, fine, if it's something interesting. See, if we all can participate, we all can have this conversation. So I'm not a type of person, okay, go out of the class and get out of the class. Okay, let's have chat, let's have discussion, let's talk about it.
So this truly tells me about what kind of a student you were when you were growing up. That's where I want to come down to.
I am the luckiest person on this planet
Mashallah.
Earth when it comes to friends and teachers in particular.
Wow.
Yeah, I've got brilliant teachers, and I am what I am today is first of all because of my teachers, my parents, and my father in particular.
Mashallah.
And in the start of the program, when you were talking about departed souls from the armed forces and from your loved one as well, so that reminds me of my father. Instantly, I lost my father last year, and I request to all my viewers to pray my late father, prayers. And when it comes to him, I'm not that stable so far.
May his soul rest in peace, and obviously, which is why I keep on praying that patience for the bereaved too as well. Right. But let's come down to personality development, because when you say that you are multifaceted, I think it's because of the fact that in every given circumstance, in every situation, you really have to put up a very different mask or probably a very different hat too as well.
True.
So today, when we talk about personality development for people or children who are aspiring to be anchor persons, hosts, what kind of personality do you think they require? And that too, you have to differentiate it between men and women.
Well, when it comes to professionalism, there is no male and female, I guess. Okay. There is no gender discrimination. You are an anchor person as a proper designation. There is no, you're a male or you're a female. I personally don't believe in that. But when it comes to an anchoring, so over the years, being an anchor person both from radio and television makes me extremely formal first. So now my body language, when it comes to acting, one of the directors, he said just last week that your body is stiff and you've got that formal personality era. So for acting, you've got that flexibility. So as an anchor person over the years, I'm extremely formal, and I like being formal in any way. Right. So of course it reflects in a personal life as well. So in personal and professional, now I like being formal in my conversation, in my looks, and everything. And when I like to be formal.
So that everything is professional. I think it's great.
Formal.
Yeah. All right. Which is why, this whole reason why I actually asked you about how, it is different for men and women is because of the fact that we have in the past seen a lot of Me Too campaigns, and we have seen that how women are more vulnerable to, a lot of different problems where they're not even paid enough, or probably as equally as men too as well. Which is why I want you to kind of, when, a lot of women are actually looking at you as of now, so just tell them that, how they really need to be careful in a working environment and how they really need to carry that professionalism rather than ending up being vulnerable.
To your health surprise, I mostly talk about men's right than women's right.
Right.
Because I personally believe
I think Shahzad will be happy to listen to that.
Our women tend to exaggerate everything.
Right.
I mean, both from personal and professional scenario, they tend to exaggerate. I'm sorry to say, but mostly negatively, they tend to exaggerate everything. And I think our men are the real victims because they took social pressure.
Thank you.
They are taking social pressure. Our men are Asian men, not only Asian men, but I think men in all over the world, men in all over the world, being a father, being a brother, they are taking much pressure on their nerves.
So much.
And nobody is even talking about them. Nobody is giving tribute to them. Nobody is regarding, they're considering their pressure, the pressure they're taking on their nerves. So let's talk about men's right. It's enough of Me Too campaigns on women's rights. So our women are already privileged, mashallah, being an Islamic state. So we are privileged enough. My father gave me this enough freedom. I'm sitting in front of you, I'm talking from this whole world because my father gave me this enough freedom. Awesome. So our women are lucky enough. We have got this freedom of expression, and at times we tend to exaggerate this freedom of expression. So I think it's time to talk about men's right.
Right. Thank you very much for saying that, and I do feel that there's certain responsibility when we are talking about the freedom of expression. So freedom, very uncharted can be a very troublesome thing, and we have seen that in Johnny Depp case and whatnot. And
exactly.
This idea
all my empathies are with Johnny Depp.
Amber Heard actually had to sell her house to pay back the $8.5 million.
Right. And this very idea of competitiveness, you know that there is not enough space for men and women out there. I think that is deeply capitalistic system, and we need to deconstruct this very concept. So
patriarchal society is enough of that.
Yes. So now coming back to, I think your professional line when it comes to the academics, and you were telling me about your research, that how you did on the Barbie dolls, and earlier on we were talking about the gender roles, in that sense. So would you like to tell out some of the findings?
I would love to talk about Barbies because I've grown up watching Barbie
Right.
series, and I was so Barbie obsessed person. I'm an old
Same.
Queen Mary, and throughout my school life, I really wanted to look like a Barbie. I really wanted to have a figure like Barbie. So that is one of the solid reasons that few of my teachers said that I'm the first one in Pakistan who conducted research on Barbie dolls and on toy psychology. Though that was not so mature, but still I'm glad that I did that. My class fellows used to make fun of me. Oh, she was doing research on Barbies. But the point is, I really wanted to conduct research on that because, and my findings, I've come up with this conclusion that no human figure can attain a figure like Barbies. It was the research conducted in early 90s in America that we have got this broad coaxial hip bones, and we Asian figures cannot have a figure like Barbies.
Okay.
So girls who always wanted to look like a Barbie, please come out of this obsession, because we are lucky enough to have we have this broad figures, and that it's a blessing. It's healthy from medical point of view, from biological point of view. We are healthy enough. I mean, so no need to look like a Barbie.
But I think this is going to be an era of Ken dolls now as well, because this gentleman who's been casted as a Ken doll, he had to speak quite a lot about it. So gentlemen now are actually being brought into that kind of form where they look like Ken dolls too as well, and that to a Barbie. And in his interview, what he said that Barbie has everything. He has me, he has the house, he has the car, and this is the most ideal life anybody could have. So please make sure that you do not take influence from that. I think that's important.
Okay, and thank you very much for saying that. And I also feel, and I say that very strongly, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Quran that हमने बेहतरीन नक्श पे तुम्हें पैदा किया. So we have made you on the best of the imprints, right? So what do we do is we try to shut down that voice, which is the wisest of the all voice, which is the creator of this entire universe, and then we try to listen to the multinational corporation who are just selling Barbie dolls and beauty standards to make money out of that, right? And also talking about this entire capitalistic system. So I do feel that so the digital is the new normal, and the broadcast is fading away, right? And also by saying that so our jobs are also I think we need to add more skill set to our personality in order to retain our jobs, right? When it comes to that. So what are your views on that? I mean, certainly there is a lot of freedom on the digital media, but it's not that sustainable when it comes to the money, right? So how can we delve into that field and add more skill sets to us, which is sustainable?
Skill sets.
Yes.
As Marshall McLuhan, I guess, once has said that a fish doesn't know its sweat. So this is what media is playing its role, and media is doing with us. So I think media need to play really important role, what to portray and what not to portray.
Yeah.
And on a receiving hand, and the viewer side on the receiving hand, it's our responsibility to have a check and balance what we are consuming every day and what we are listening, what we are watching through media. So we should have this check and balance on ourselves first. Okay. So through digital platform, I mean, unfortunately, through YouTube and through social media, there's a much promotion of street journalism and yellow journalism. So we need to have this check and balance on social media and YouTube channels as well. Luckily, we have PAMRA and we have different bodies for the mainstream media, for the electronic media, for different most of our TV channels. But for social media, we are in dire need to have this check and balance on a state level, that because so that one should not promote this yellow journalism and street journalism. Anyone can be an anchor. It's not a wise approach at all.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Right, a lot of people does have a problem with that, but again, you can't control things on social media because everyone has the freedom, and freedom has been diluted to the grassroots level.
Why do you even want to control things?
Because unbridled freedom can be very dangerous when it comes to that.
I mean, if we say that it can be dangerous, I think it can be literally opposite too as
For
well.
For example, I do feel there's a lot of polarization in society. Why? Because of the unbridled freedom that we have. So I do feel that the choice and liberty and freedom has become the new false gods nowadays.
I believe that you just need to be wise in using all of these platforms.
So not everyone is wise. Do you think so?
I mean, yes, obviously.
But we have our own definitions of who is wise and who is not. I mean, something can be good to you.
And that can be very dangerous, when you see the trends of the polarization which are going on in the society. So people are extremely divided along the party lines, along the religious lines, along the left
and that's how we get
extremists.
It's been done every single day. There are people who've been hired to do so every single day, which is why you would see tweets from one political party and you won't see any single tweet from any
Political
other political
polarization
party.
because of those tweets.
Because they're
And
doing that.
that's what making us extremism. And my latest research was not on Barbie dolls, but on extremism.
Yeah. Okay.
So I did my PhD and thesis on countering violent extremism, and my journey from Barbie dolls to it took extremism.
That's quite extreme
It's
itself.
a volatility angle, because I used to be a fashion journalist at that time, but then this APS school attack changed my life. I mean, I would say I literally took that incident on my nerves. So I really wanted to do something for my kids, for those kids. Let's do something for those kids. So I got so emotionally disturbed at that time that I have to do something for those kids. So I thought, let's do something academically. That's how I have produced some research papers and this thesis, because I want to do something for my country and for those kids, and that's it.
So very quickly, I want to come down to because you've been doing so many things, so it's probably a mix of everything.
Yes.
And now you, alhamdulillah, have your own digital magazine with the name of Mixed Plate by Madam OBC. But so why didn't you think that, okay, I should particularly focus on one thing rather than, because these days, it's not important to be a master of one. I think being a jack of all trades is something which will make you survive away, in at least in our country. You need multiple jobs, you need to do multiple things at one time to actually live a good and a healthy life, if Allah blesses you, obviously. So tell us a little about Mixed Plate and why.
And what was the story that you enjoyed the most while doing,
It is certainly a reflection of my personality as well, from personal to professional grounds. Like I work in electronic media, print media, web media, behind the screen, on screen, from content writing to producing a thesis. So my life is like a mixed plate. So people used to tell me that she's a mixed plate type of person, and mixed plate is a proper terminology in magazine journalism, which means everything under one roof. So I thought, okay, fine, and because of my dire love with magazine journalism, so I thought, okay, the name of my magazine should be the Mixed Plate Magazine by Sundus, which means everything under one roof. So far, except religion, everything is there on my magazine. And I think jack of all trades and master of some. Then you must have the strong skill set. Should be I am on a mission to promote. You said at least in Pakistan. So including Pakistan, I'm on a mission to promote this, that you can be the jack of all trades and master of some. Okay, and I'm a TEDx speaker, and I gave a lecture in Malaysia as well, just to promote this thing, that you can be the jack of all trades and master of some. You need to have this strong skill set, because if you can have just one skill and one field, I think to survive, you need to, for your social freedom, for your financial freedom, and for everything, I think you need to have your strong skill set, and that comes through different platforms.
And we've spoken about it, how to actually enhance your skill set as well. But very quickly towards the end, one last thing, and that is, right at the beginning of the program, you said that, whatever you do, you make sure that you do it professionally, right? So when we come down to Mixed Plate, how do you think that you're going to do justice? Because you're saying that you're master of some, but jack of all trades too as well. So do you think you lack, your professionalism in a few of the ingredients of the Mixed Plate? Probably.
It's a nice question. It's my first baby, and that's gonna be bread and butter, one of my bread and butter in future, because I of course I'm heading towards this entrepreneurship, because whatever you do in your 20s, and the moment you hit 30, you must have your own work, something for your own.
I don't agree to that. I don't agree to that, because otherwise, KFC
in my whole 20s,
unfortunately.
In my whole 20s, I did a lot of experiments, but the moment I hit 30, I thought, okay, you must have something your own. So I'm heading towards entrepreneurship, and a few of our ladies like Musarat Misbah and this Nilofer Shahid. These are Nilofer Shahid, but the fashion designer. These are all my inspirations. So I really want to be the entrepreneur as well.
And we want to wish you best of luck as well. Thank you very much, Dr. Sundus Mustaqeem, for being with us. You're very well versed, and alhamdulillah, you've been making sense all this time as well. It was great to have you over here, to have this conversation.
It was a great conversation with you guys.
Thank you very much. It was wonderful to have you. We want to wish you all the best as well. May Allah make you a budding entrepreneur as well. May Allah give you multiple sources of income with which you can treat us to at times. And for everybody who's out there, ladies and gentlemen, if you are to actually draw inspiration from somebody, I think Dr. Sundus Mustaqeem happens to be that one individual. Please make sure that you keep your focus towards your destiny and your goal, and make sure that you remember that it's the journey, it's not just the destiny. With that, we're actually heading out towards a short break. Good morning.
Welcome back. And earlier on we were talking about the binaries and the how the polarization is caused by the technology. And Shehzad was talking. No, it's not the polarization. It's actually it's a gelling force. It's very harmonious force when it comes to that. So I do feel it's not just the technology. There are people also who are the gelling force. Yeah.
Thank you.
Right. Who are the gelling force, and especially people, Pakistanis who are living abroad, who are the migrants who are contributing towards the economy when it comes to remittances, and not just the remittances, also culturally, politically and whatnot. They have representation of a country out there and was making us proud. And I think Pakistani diaspora is a very prominent diaspora when it comes to the Western diaspora and also to other continents. Also to talk more about it and explore the relationship between the diaspora and how the remittances is being sent and the problems they sort of face. So we have two very amazing guests with us on our show, and I would like to introduce them and ask them about what sort of the problems and opportunities there are when it comes to the diaspora. So we have with us Faisal Saeed Khan, who happens to be the overseas Pakistani. Assalamu alaikum and thank you so much for coming to our show.
Very good morning.
It's wonderful to have you, and alongside Mr. Faisal, ladies and gentlemen, this gentleman obviously always looks dapper. You know, he always makes sure that he's well dressed. And I love him, and it's because of the fact that he truly deserves this kind of introduction, and it's because of the fact that he's an expert in whatever he does. Ladies and gentlemen, he happens to be a constitutional tax expert. Not just that, the best part is that he happens to be an advocate Supreme Court as well. And ladies and gentlemen, he's one of my favorites, Mr. Hafiz Ahsan Ahmed Khokar Sahab. Hello, sir. Assalamu alaikum. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. Thank you so much.
Sir, it's always so wonderful to have you over here. You bring this positive vibe to yourself as well, which we truly enjoy too as well. But first things first, I'm going to ask my question from Faisal.
Sure.
So Faisal bhai, you know, even now my wonderful colleague actually spoke about how, you know, there's this Pakistani diaspora in the Western countries. And most of the times we actually forget that almost in every continent on this planet, we do have Pakistani people working for the country and the country's betterment. So you actually over here are representing Kenya today as well, you know, where it happens to be in Africa too. And we've never kind of imagined Africa itself kind of contributing towards Pakistan. So first of all, how are the conditions in Kenya? Because most of the people within Kenya or Africa or that particular continent are businessmen. You know, they're not shopkeepers, or they do not have some ordinary household objectives to kind of go around. But all of those people who go wherever Pakistanis, somebody goes to America, you call them 2 years later, Hanji, hamara petrol pump hai. You know, somebody goes to Canada, hamara ye hai, humne industry laga liya hai. So how are things in Kenya and Africa on a macro scale?
Alhamdulillah, I am doing business there. I import cars from Japan.
MashaAllah.
And there are a lot of Pakistanis are there, and they are doing very well job there, very well business there. And I want to tell my country fellows that there is a very big opportunity in Kenya. Right now, the Pakistan government approved export mangoes and oranges. There is a very big opportunity, almost 60 to 70 million dollar we can export. These oranges and mangoes, and there are very big opportunities in chemical, in pharmaceutical, in steel mills, there's so many industries are there. So I invite all my fellows that come Kenya, come Africa, explore Africa. Everyone did, India done and China done, and we are very late.
And sir, since you spoke about how you're actually importing cars from Japan, but how's the infrastructure in Kenya? You know, is there any point of importing the cars too as well, or people would be like, "Sir, ab shocks kaun dalwayega iske?"
They will do. You know, Kenya is a good economy.
Because my brother-in-law has actually lived over there. You know, so he's like,
in
the
Kenya,
best car to drive over there is RAV4. You know, please make sure that you do not spend a lot of money on that.
Kenya, a very good country to live there, and very good atmosphere. Very friendly people are there, and I invite all Pakistanis to go there, have a look there, and explore Kenya, explore Africa. Very big market.
Obviously.
You will forget America, you will forget Europe, you know. In Kenya, at least you can live a good citizen, as a good life there, and
right. Thank you for saying that. And I think, you know, migrants abroad and diaspora abroad, this is the humanizing phase of the globalization when it comes to that. So I really wanted to ask this question to Khokar Sahab, because, you know, you earlier on you were also the focal person for addressing the grievances of overseas Pakistanis, right? Yes. That's a very important introduction. So I really wanted to ask you, so, you know, a lot of migrants, they send back their money in the form of remittances, you know, through which, you know, our economy is really growing, and it's helping in reducing the poverty when it comes to that. Do you believe that there's a system out there, you know, or a structure in place out there which is actually, you know, not helping them, you know, create the ease of business, you know, when it comes to sending back money back to their home?
In the last 3-4 years, the government of Pakistan, and especially the State of Bank of Pakistan, on the instructions of the Ministry of Finance, they have done so many things for the money transfers to the overseas Pakistanis to Pakistan, and they have opened so many schemes in Pakistan, and resultantly in the last financial years we have reached up to the $32 billion in Pakistan, and simultaneously the government of Pakistan has offered overseas Pakistanis to open their bank accounts in Pakistan, and they can buy car, housing schemes, and they can participate over there. and it's all about $5-6 billion US dollars in the Roshan digital accounts in Pakistan.
Right.
Most important thing would be that we always keep saying that overseas Pakistanis are assets of Pakistan,
Right.
they are good ambassadors of Pakistan.
Right.
But like other countries, Turkey, China and Malaysia and especially the India, we have not explored the real potential of the overseas Pakistanis, because we need to persuade and we need to take steps on the ease of doing business in Pakistan, and unfortunately we have a lower grades in the ease of doing business in Pakistan.
Right.
If we keep saying working on that, if they are sending 32 billion US dollars as a home remittances in Pakistan, so why not they are sending the foreign direct investments?
Right.
In one program, Shehzad Sahab is saying that they are sending the money for their families.
Right.
So they are enjoying their numbers, but if they are coming with the investment in Pakistan, so the other segments of the society in Pakistan, the different peoples, they would be benefited from that.
Right.
And the most important thing in all the perspective is that we should introduce such laws in Pakistan which would be friendly to the overseas Pakistanis, which would be friendly to the doing the business in Pakistan,
Right.
which should address the real genuine issues of the Pakistanis.
Right.
And simultaneously the important would be we should need to change the mindset of the government, the regulators and the missions who are working outside Pakistan as embassies in for the
Right. So a lot of overseas Pakistanis, so actually when they're working hard and they're sending the remittances and they actually want to build up their houses when they come back to Pakistan, so they have the place to live. And actually there's a mafia here which is defrauding them in the name of building up their houses. And a lot of overseas Pakistanis complain that there is not exactly a redressal commission there, which actually tenders to or caters to their needs and problems when it comes to the
And
overseas
it's
Pakistan.
usually their brothers and sisters who actually end up being frauding their loved ones who've been sending money all this time.
Right,
They
right.
wanted to put in a
Shehzad
floor bill
bhai,
of rice.
yeah.
So what is the
I have
government-
examples because I've been the grievance commissioner of overseas Pakistanis, and we took almost more than 50 initiatives for the overseas
Right.
Pakistanis relating the federal government. The
Right.
primary concern of the overseas Pakistanis was the property.
Right.
The first thing we have done it in Islamabad, because the federal government mainly working to the federal government department and CDA working is there. We have asked the CDA to develop a program in CDA and to put all the schemes which are now unregistered, so the overseas Pakistanis should not invest there. So
Right.
if you go on the website of the CDA, there is a complete list and there is a warning from the government authorities. Now the other point would be
But
mostly
is that limited to Islamabad only?
it is limited to
Yes.
Islamabad, and,
Right.
and we have asked the provinces to expand this
Right.
issue. But to the extent of the possession or the dispossession or the illegal possession
Right.
of the overseas Pakistanis, because they are living there and they are sending monies, so there would be two problems. One problem would be they are not coming to Pakistan, they are sending their monies to their relatives, mostly
Right.
first for their side,
Right.
and then when there would be a transfer of the property in Pakistan, the property would be transferred by his brother, by his sister or by his father.
Right.
And when he comes back to Pakistan, because of the price of the property, there would be a greediness from amongst the members of the family.
True.
So he goes on different forums and saying my property has been stolen, my property has been taken away by someone. But when I, as the grievance commissioner, asked them who is the responsible, so first he was reluctant to speak. Okay, who is the responsible? He was saying that the government is not working, the institution is not working. But when I keep saying who is the responsible,
Right.
the responsible was first the father, the brothers,
Right.
And then
the
he or
cousins,
she hung-
yeah,
him or
yeah.
herself.
And on the second side, now the family members of his wife, now they are also responsible. The first wife is saying, your family, they have taken your property. Now my brother is more, I mean, the wise, and
That's
he
a
is a
sad
pious.
affair,
Yeah. So, but the most important thing, we have taken number of initiatives now because of the technology. There is no issue. You can certify your document through embassies, just one click over there. Now the
Like, sir, how nikah's been done on Skype? Why can't you do a transfer on Skype?
yeah. Now we are doing on that, and on the other side, like the established societies in Pakistan, this is no such issue.
like the DHAs and other big developers in Pakistan, because they have a streamlined system of the transfer and the sale of the property. This is not the, but my advice would be, the property is not the ultimate destination in Pakistan. You should invest, you should work on the different sides of business. This is more important in Pakistan. And if we are keep saying to Chinese and the other companies that there is a 30% profit of the business in Pakistan, why should not the Pakistanis come over there? And there should be a ministry for the national investment in Pakistan, which should cover under a one umbrella, like a one window schemes, give the incentives and take the advantages and benefits of the overseas Pakistanis.
Just like you introduced those one windows, you know, even on the airports too as well.
We have done, and we have coordinated more than 16 agencies over there, and thousands and thousands applications have been redressed at spot, and now it was a check and balance over the government authorities.
Which is why I want to actually move on to Faisal Bhai over here as well, because Faisal Bhai, you know, you have actually invited us Pakistanis to come and explore the African continent as well. What do you feel your responsibility as an overseas Pakistani? How do you, or how would you want to contribute, knowing that, you know, these are the issues, these are the grievances, and yes, we do have solutions now, alhamdulillah, finally. So in which areas would you love to contribute as a responsible overseas Pakistani?
The first thing, we have to send all the money through the bank. There's no money laundering.
But who to send? I think that's the question.
We the one. We as a overseas Pakistan.
Russian digital account, I believe, is wonderful.
It's wonderful, and a lot of people are doing this. Alhamdulillah, very big
Shahzad
amount
has
of
first-hand information.
Alhamdulillah, I have one account, Russian digital account.
And as a Pakistani, where we stay, we are responsible. We are ambassador of Pakistan. Everyone can say that he is Pakistani. He's a very gentleman guy. His business, his matters, everything, it should be a good Pakistani. This is a message for all Pakistanis.
Okay, so Faisal Saab, I wanted to ask you this question because I do feel, especially when it comes to the West, that there's sort of, you know, anti-migrant environment over there where people do have problem with, you know, the natives do have a problem with the other people, you know, moving into their country. So what sort of environment is there in Africa? Because I do feel that our government in the past few years has pivoted towards the African continent, you know, so our pharmaceutical is going there, and we do feel that, you know, there is an opportunity, vast opportunity out there when it comes to our exports going out there. So can you tell us, you know, the sort of environment there and ease of the business, doing business there?
The ambassador for Kenya, Saklan, Madam Saklan, she is doing a lot of work. She is a very hardworking woman, and because of her, we agreed that import mangoes and oranges there. And OPGF is also there. OPGF, anyone need help, I am there. I am a chairman of OPGF. Mr. Iftikhar is there. We are there for all Africa. We can help any kind of issues there.
That's wonderful, so, and it's wonderful to know that, you know, how people are actually willing to help you as well. But very quickly, Khokosa, what I want to ask you is that what is the role of all of those ambassadors, you know, in different missions too as well, you know, in different countries? How would you highlight their importance and how they can contribute?
Their role and their working and their mandate, I mean, it is absolutely, you can't have any second argument on that. They are ambassadors of the country, and their primary responsibility is to protect and defend the interest of the Pakistan or whosoever with the country he is belonging. And the second important thing would be to bring the investment in Pakistan. This is the weak area for our missions in Pakistan. If you are looking at the figures of our investment in Pakistan, and we have traditionally on 3, 4, 5 countries, we have the investment from the China, some from the UK, some from the America, or some we have the Japan. But we have 116 missions outside Pakistan, and we have 92 embassies in different countries. So we need to work on that. The government or we are keep saying on that we should work on that, but there is we need to have such strategy that where there is a Pakistani, whosoever, and might be the Pakistanis, they are living every country in the world. And while I was the grievance commissioner for overseas Pakistanis, I collected the figure almost 218 countries the Pakistanis over are there. So they are the real potentials. They can be make good JVs in Pakistan, like Malaysia, India. Their overseas Pakistanis brought the investment of their respective countries in Pakistan, and the government of Pakistan and the Foreign Office of Pakistan needs to work on it.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Khokosa, for being with us. Thank you very much, Faisal Bhai, for being with us. Lovely to be in conversation. For everybody who's out there, ladies and gentlemen, it's been said loud and clear. I believe that everybody's going to understand that too as well, because even we go out in 46 different countries, it is totally dependent on us Pakistanis in making sure that we bring back what is actually being required for the prosperity and the development of the country. And if we are not going to do so, nobody's going to come from outside to do it for ourselves.
Right, and to summarize the second segment, so the message is loud and clear that, the Africa is the new continent, where you want to, if you want to diversify your exports, it's your continent. So make sure that, you explore this opportunity. So until next time, it's a goodbye. And
1, 2, 3, good morning.
morning.
Bye. Thank you.